So I was hoping to start from the beginning. How did this reputation come about? And do you feel like it is deserved?
I do feel that it's deserved because what I've come to understand is that I have misrepresented myself for a very long time.
So were you the side chick that calls in the middle of the night so she can roll over and see the phone? Or were you the side chick that knew you was going to link up at 2 o'clock, so you just had to wait?
I was a side chick that when Gene would call him, I would go in the other room and be quiet.
Yeah, you did.
That's the worst kind, too.
That's the MVP.
I think you said something about kissing him.
Yeah, sometimes I would like kiss him and try to distract him so he would get off the phone. And then other times I would just go in the other room and be quiet or watch TV.
So when you wanted him, was that insecurity in yourself, or did you just want him and that was it? Like, have you broken down the psychological behind being a confident side chick?
I mean, I think anytime you're a side chick, there's something that you have to address that's going on internally. So for me, I just didn't feel good enough for first. So I just didn't really, I'm like, it's not, it's not my problem. That's not my man, and I want him. So I don't really care what it takes and what it makes me look like. At the time, I didn't realize how much it really reflected on how empty I was and how low I felt about myself.
Even though per society standards, I was someone who, low body count. No, I had not talked to any famous guy, never been around. I had a big following. An ideal situation, right? Starting out in Hollywood, already labeled a whore, a liar, a gold digger. So when I think about how my origin story began, like my villain origin story, it was that. It's like, I haven't even done anything and I'm already misunderstood. So I think as time progressed, I really just tried to fake it till I could make it.
I am a gold digging, manipulative, evil, who has no real talent, who has sucked his way to the top, and is a overhyped, below average looking girl with clout, who is only relevant because of race.
Well, damn.
You can't turn a to a housewife.
The world you live in, the world you exist in, is pretty much foreign to most of the people who have something to say about it.
Right.
What do you think people get that point of view? I mean, because you said the first thing is that you are a manipulative gold digger.
Yes.
All right. Whose gold have you dug?
My favorite basketball team is whatever NBA player I'm fucking. I love watching basketball. It's just way more interesting when there's someone on the team like that I'm linked to, but I don't really have a favorite one, just players.
And from what I understand, the book, you told stories, you used different names, but all these people are celebrities and musicians and entertainers. Gold digging, has any one of these men said you gold digger?
No.
11 athletes.
Woo!
5 entertainers.
Woo!
8 regular guys.
Woo!
I've only 3 regular guys since I've been Instagram famous.
There's no supporting evidence. I think it's just public speculation. I like to call them fan theories. Very interesting.
I don't make permanent decisions off of temporary emotions. I know change is constant, and I can think myself out of any situation if I have imagination.
The villain came about was, I was a small town girl from Mississippi. Like, to even be in certain rooms with people where it was unheard of. I never thought these guys would even know I existed. So I felt like there was still that like starry-eyed element where I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like I had been like thrown into Disney World, so to speak, right? And, like, the world is at your fingertips, and again, all of these high-value men are now seeking you.
Let's skip all the way today.
Okay.
If you could do it all over again, would you choose it?
I see nothing about me, the way I am, the way I think, as shameful.
Absolutely.
Why?
Being honest. I feel...
Well, we're going to get honest either way.
I would say that there's a lot of privilege that comes with this. You get to skip the line. And once you reach a certain level of status, really the world is your oyster. As far as, like, I've gotten acting roles simply just off my Instagram. really been able to do different speaking engagements. I've been able to just like not have actually have to clock in since 2013. So I would say yes, because I don't really take direction that well. I feel like, here you go. I'm self-aware. And I feel like in this position, I've gotten to make more money than I would have made being a special needs caregiver. There's a privilege that we have to acknowledge for women. Well, it's easier in some areas.
Well, I mean, okay. So while you do get to skip the line, all this other kind of stuff, you also get labeled for doing things that would only make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you relish the label or do you resent the label?
I think you have to take the good and the bad. So you can't be like, I love skipping the line, but I hate when people call me a... It's like, who cares?
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand, because there's one article that's a one-off, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can kind of recover from one article, in my opinion anyway. But there was more that happened in between. Yeah. What happened next?
Do you think women look at your body or look at you on Instagram and judge you or hate you in any type of way for that?
I'm sure they do.
But you don't care.
No.
Where do you get your confidence from? Because you're extremely confident. Like you did a video talking about sucking dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like,
it's an art.
Yeah, but women aren't that blunt just in public about that. Where do you get that confidence from?
I feel like over the past few years, I've gotten really comfortable just within the woman I am and who I want to be. So I do enjoy sucking. I like to talk about it. I wanted to like do, you know, the whole...
the Jill Scott.
The Jill Scott.
The Jill Scott. That's classic. No, I was gonna say, do you feel like you've been self-conscious for so long where you get to a point where it's like a lash out, where like, you know, I feel like you're comfortable in your skin and what you do and what you like to do, but to put out on social media like that, do you feel like that's where it comes from? Like for so long, I felt ashamed about something. Now I just want to put it out there.
Yeah, that's kind of how I've been learning, is in polarity. So like I was saying the other day, it's like I have learned to be strong from being weak for a long time. So it's like being degraded and feeling shame for just being and enjoying things that are very natural. I just kind of found myself like owning it. So I'm just I'm not afraid of, I don't know really what people want, like what they think and what they want me to be, I guess. Just not here to do all that.
Okay, so it was just like you were linked with rapper, entertainer.
A lot of my shit was public, and I feel like that's where a lot of people are like, she's a whore, but it's like there's articles where someone took a picture of me at the movie theater with a guy. That's out of my control.
Because I'm so vocal, and just because it's like, you know, it's hot under these lights, you know? So it's like, I think dating has probably been the hardest thing for me. A lot of my friends, we just don't have the same problems, it seems like. You almost have to keep it going, because if I'm Brittney Renner and I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, and let's say I fall off and now I'm working at Target, it's not that that's a failure, but there would be ridicule that comes behind that.
There was one time where I thought I was, you know, being Billy Badass, and I guys in a week. Had a mean yeast infection. That's not funny. But it wasn't funny, but looking back at it, I could laugh now.
My end goal would be to utilize my youth, my beauty, this position, to create opportunities in the now for the long term. So podcasting, hair company, skincare.
Brittney bought me a Chanel purse.
Are you serious?
She's a sugar mama.
Wow.
Happy birthday to you. She bought me for my birthday. Oh my God. That bitch was funny.
I just didn't want her to be impressed by what any man could do for her. And she obviously could do that herself, but for me, I just felt like it was more of a sentiment, like, you don't need a guy to get stuff like this.
So yeah, I mean, I think my biggest end goal is one of my bigger end goals is to have my own podcast. Because when I was pregnant, I used to watch your lives. You would pose so many questions that I did not have the answer to. I'm 29. And when I would listen to you, and people would get triggered, but I'm like, when you really sit down and you take away tone, you take away whatever people think about you, it's actually very helpful if you're willing to listen, but a lot of people don't listen.
So, do you relish being the rebel?
I love it here.
When you're 60, what do you want your life to look like?
That's a great question.
Don't let your baby mama or your baby daddy block your blessings. I know in theory it sounds good keeping the same person to have kids with, but that's insanity as well. So if it doesn't work out with them, it'll work out with someone else. Okay? It just will. That's how that goes. And trust me, I know it's ghetto. It is so ghetto being a baby mama, and thinking about multiple baby daddies is scary. But you my baby gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. So we're moving forward, onward, upward. Okay.
I've had to ask myself, like, what am I willing to pay to be in my truth and to be the rebel? I think right now, there is kind of like a burning at the stake. Like, that's how I feel. I feel like because I tell my truth, I speak how I feel, that I have been crucified. I'm a very easy target.
Are you into the idea that like you can't just first and then start dating? Like, do you hold off if you want to be serious with someone, or do you just you want to?
I'm having sex.
All right, cool. I'm glad you're not like old school or anything.
No, I feel like that mentality, like, oh, if I just hold out, he'll really see my value. No, he won't. To me, family is everything. I was raised with my grandparents. So for me, they did the best they could with the awareness they had. But my mom and dad, they never married. And my mom isn't married now. My dad is. And it's just like, for me, it's just always been a dream to have that in-household unit. And I just feel like, due to recent events, now it's like, yeah, it is stepdaddy season. And that wasn't my choice, even though it was my choice. There were things that transpired where I just felt like, okay, I'm gonna have to choose me. But yeah, I want a family, but it is going to take, honestly, at this point, I don't know who would want to sign up to be with me. And that's just being all the way transparent. I don't know.
Do you see any similarities in you and your mother?
No. And I think too, when you hate something, it is natural that you become it. So I think you have to resolve, dissolve, and then it just kind of becomes one thing and you're more balanced. So no, my mom and I were both very silly and like outgoing and crazy, but as far as being a parent, I couldn't see how I could be like either one of them.
I experienced the worst people to deal with are the athletes. None of them use condoms, really. So if y'all really want to try to come up off a check off a man, you could just athlete. They're really done.
But that's not what everyone else sees. That's not for me to sit here and try to convince people that, like, what it was. But I think just living out loud, like you said, it comes at a cost. Whether you're talking about your experiences in a book, whether your relationship is public, there is a cost.
My light is so bright that it causes all of the roaches to scatter in places they thought they could hide. It's just me being me. It just causes such an uproar. Like, loving yourself is such a rebellious act these days, you know? But I'm here to tell you, I am so not sorry.